Well, straight away getting you the live pictures coming in of Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he is now departing to begin his five-nation visit to the UAE, Netherlands, Sweden, Norway and Italy from today onwards. And this visit that is expected to focus on strengthening trade, investment, technology and strategic cooperation with Europe and also with the Gulf region. And to begin with, we are looking at Prime Minister Narendra Modi that is planning for his official visit to the UAE. And the MEA has said that the Prime Minister will be meeting the President of the UAE, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, during his visit, and also saying that the two leaders will then have the opportunity to exchange views on bilateral issues, in particular energy cooperation, as well as regional and international issues of mutual interest. Now, this is going to be the Prime Minister's first visit post the conflict as far as to the Gulf region is concerned. And what is being said, India's relations with the UAE, because there is a bilateral comprehensive strategic partnership that is also underpinned by strong political, cultural, economic and people-to-people ties as well. And this visit will serve to promote a significant trade and investment linkages between the two countries. So Prime Minister's short visit to the UAE is now being seen as a chance for India to shore up energy supplies from the UAE and also to discuss the welfare of the 4 million strong diaspora that resides in the Emirates, in the UAE. So what is now being said? Multiple MOUs are expected to be signed, and this is now coming during the energy crisis that not just India but the entire world that has been impacted because of the conflict in the Middle East, but also the one on LNG supplies and the other one on strategic oil reserves. What is being said would be taken up between the two countries during the Prime Minister's UAE visit. So pictures that are now coming in, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has begun with his five-nation tour. Of course, when it comes to the Gulf and also to Europe, this visit has a lot of significance that is also being attached because ever since the crisis that arose during the US-Iran war and the impact on the movement of the vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, there are still several Indian vessels that remain stranded in the Persian Gulf, and India has made an outreach to key West Asian suppliers of energy as well. And the UAE, which is India's third largest trade partner and the seventh largest source of investment cumulatively over the past 25 years. So we are looking at this visit now. However, this is going to be a short visit. The Sheikh Nahyan's visit to India had come earlier when it comes to barely for few hours in the beginning of the year, but that is what we are now looking at because there has been a sharp decline, the volatile situation that has been taking place in the Middle East amongst the countries as well. And now when it comes to the simmering tensions between Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and of course when it comes to the unsettling political scenario that seems to be building up, this is the update now we are looking at as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is now beginning with his five-nation tour, beginning first with the UAE. In the meantime, approximately in minutes from now, we are expecting the bilateral that is expected to happen on the lines of the BRICS Foreign Minister Summit. So we are looking at the two leaders, Dr. S. Jaishankar and the Iranian counterpart would be meeting in New Delhi. Let's connect with Srinjoy on this. Well, Srinjoy, good morning. This is a significance that is being attached, the first visit of the Prime Minister to the Gulf. The UAE in particular, we are looking at right after this crisis there. Of course, a lot's been happening, but what can be done, especially when it comes to energy supplies and demands is concerned of India to meet with that demand, and how important would be this visit?
The crisis continues. There is a ceasefire, but a very tenuous one at this point. But as far as this visit is concerned, the first issue really is energy. And how do you get the energy supplies from the UAE to India? Because if the Strait of Hormuz is closed, then there is very few opportunities to move energy from the UAE to India. Nevertheless, the effort will have to be made. They have one port, a small one, just outside the Strait of Hormuz. Perhaps that can be used to some extent. That is one option. The other, of course, relates to the war itself, because the UAE has also been struck during the war. There have been some crises in the UAE, though things appear normal in Dubai and Abu Dhabi just now. There is a level of normalcy in Dubai and in Abu Dhabi is what we are hearing.
Yes.
Nevertheless, it's important for PM to go to not only discuss the crisis in West Asia, but also ensure that there is a proper supply of natural gas and crude oil to India.
Absolutely, because Shinjoy, today is the day when fuel prices have been also hiked in India. We are looking at the foreign ministers' BRICS summit that is also underway. And of course, when it comes to the second day of the summit that is taking place in China between the presidents of US and also of China. Let's connect with Mr. Suresh Goyal, who is also joining us here on the broadcast. Mr. Goyal, sir, good morning. How are you looking at this visit of the Prime Minister as he's just departed? His first stop would be to the UAE. The UAE has also been in the thick of the ongoing US-Iran war and has witnessed more than, several thousand missile and drone attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. As we have seen also during the big summit, the Iran war, the West Asia war, basically has clearly indicated the kind of disagreements and the issues which have cropped up in finding an agreement, common agreement. The visit is very, very strategic. It's not just about oil. Oil, of course, is important. But as you will recall that during the war, there has been a lot of displacement of people within UAE also, and many people have begun to leave the UAE because the business environment is not as great as it used to be before the war. The investments are not flowing in really. So the business environment is not good, and there is a huge Indian community in UAE which has been impacted, number one. Number two, I think strategically speaking itself, there is a lot of fragmentation within Gulf unity, the Gulf security. Earlier, the USA was the pinnacle of the security. Today, no more so. And I think the visit will really give an opportunity for us to understand at the highest level as to how UAE looks at the future Gulf security.
Yes, sir.
Because that will also decide on the Iran war.
Absolutely, sir, because lots been happening in India's neighborhood, when it comes to all of these meetings that has been taking place. Now, what has been India's priority? Thank you very much, Mr. Goyal, for your point of view. As far as its supply and demand of energy is concerned, that seems to be the priority because also last month, when we speak of UAE, it walked out of OPEC and OPEC Plus, Shinjoy, and over the differences happening with both Iran and Saudi Arabia. Mayank, if you can take up that question, good morning. And that is the kind of significance that is being attached to the Prime Minister's visit first to the UAE.
What we talking about UAE is that it's a very we have a strategic partnership between us, and the kind of relationship which has evolved in the recent time. Energy security.
Well, we don't have a clear line with you, Mayank, but we are going to talk about as far as Prime Minister now that has now begun with his visit, and he's now departed. His first stop would be to the UAE. And of course, when we speak of the United Arab Emirates, the significance that has now been attached, let's take a look and, talk about Prime Minister's itinerary. Because the UAE, which is in the thick of the ongoing US-Iran war, it has witnessed several missile and drone attacks as well, more than what is now being said. Last month that the UAE also decided to walk out of OPEC and OPEC Plus over the differences with both Iran and Saudi Arabia. However, let's break down Prime Minister's 5-nation tour. So that will begin today. That has begun today. And these are the pictures that just came in. Prime Minister emplaining. And in the meantime, we talk about today being the 15th. So this is going to be a 6-day visit that the Prime Minister will be covering at least 5 nations, beginning with the UAE. Thereafter, he is expected to head to Netherlands, where he will be meeting the leadership over there, 15 to 17. Of course, there is going to be a Nordic summit. So Sweden would be on the 17th and 18, then in Oslo, where the Prime Minister would be present, in Norway, and last stop would be to Italy on the 19th and the 20th, and then return to New Delhi. So that seems to be the Prime Minister's program in these 6 days as the Prime Minister is undertaking this trip. But a lot of significance is now being attached as far as to the UAE is also concerned. And of course, when it comes to this trip, this visit of the Prime Minister, which seems to be overshadowed by energy and supply chain worries, especially because of the Iran war.